What's up, guys? Midnight Snack here, bringing you a quick bite of a game called Crest. It is by a studio that goes by the name of Eat, Create, Sleep. Now, Crest is a god game where you write these sort of vague commandments that you kind of have to puzzle out for yourself because the game doesn't really tell you what they do or what they will do once written. And these commandments will influence your people into hopefully keeping them alive. I've had lots of people die while testing this game. I played it for about an hour-ish before making this video, so I have a decent grasp, I would like to say, on the basics. I'll just go ahead and start by saying that. So the game is available on Steam. It is in early access. It was released April 23rd of this year. It is $5 US. I'm not sure about regional equivalents. I'm assuming they're going to be in your regional equivalent. The game is also purchasable through the Humble store. You can get a Steam key through there. And this game was actually provided to me by the developer, this key, so thank them for this video because I had actually not heard of this game before. So if this is something that you are interested in and you've enjoyed watching, then definitely give this game a look. So let's go ahead and jump into the options menu real quick because I had an issue when I first launched the game. It didn't put me on my native resolution, and I wanted to get on my native resolution, but if you look on this list down at the bottom, I don't see 1920 by 1080p all the way down at the bottom, and there's no scroll option. Using the arrow keys didn't work either, so if you're having problems getting on 1080p, go to 640 by 480, and then all the way down at the bottom you should have the tippy top of some numbers. That should be your 1920 by 1080p. So that is just kind of a heads up, I had that issue. So what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to start a new game, go through a little introduction, go through the tutorial, and then kind of play around a little bit as a new civilization, and then I'm going to come back out and then load in a civilization that I've been playing for a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and jump into the little introduction that we have for this game. In the beginning, all was water. In this endless ocean you awoke alone. After many cycles, you could see small worlds form. Some worlds had empty vessels which reminded you of yourself. You named them humans. Your presence gave them a will to live. When you communicate with them, they see only a shadow of your true self. They take your words as their own. Their interpretations mold and reshape your form. They will redefine what is right and what is wrong. Your vessels are ready to take on the world. How they fare is up to you. Alright, so we are this sort of god creature that's in the void. Notice that there were some little people that were growing up, and we decided to name them humans, and we're trying to make sure that they live. So, we have a little town with 4 little houses and some people, and our goal as their god is to try to make sure that they don't die a horrible, horrible death. And that's, at least for me in the very beginning, was quite a bit of a challenge as I'm fairly new to God games, and this one doesn't really hold your hand too well, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. So we're going to go through this tutorial real quick and play a little bit here, and then I'm going to go into the larger civilization that I have from my earlier testing. So let's get started. Crest tasks you with the role of God. You can think of it as being a parent for your people. Your goal is to lead your followers and shape them after your own wish. Be careful, however, if you lead them astray, they might all die and your legacy will end. You have some camera controls here, WASD and Q and E for rotation. You can also use the mouse, left click and drag for movement, right click and drag for kind of pivoting the camera, and then you can scroll with your mouse. Zoom in or double click on a city in order to get information about it. Hover over icons to read more. If you zoom in or double click a hut surrounding the city, you will get information about that specific follower. So let's click on the city, move over to it a little bit, and you can see we have how much food the city has, how much metal the city has. This is used for, I believe, just construction and basic tools and stuff that they need. You don't actually have to worry about that other than making sure they have some. This will show you how close you are to having a new child born in the city, the happiness of the city, the overall happiness, how well they're fed, and then also the kind of the average age of the citizens. So let's click on a hut, see what's going on in these huts. We can see these guys are kind of sad. They don't have metal for survival, they don't have mining jobs, they're not having children. We have a lot of stuff going on. They're fed. They're working on having a baby right now. That's what this little dance thing's going on. It's kind of a mating ritual. They have enough food though, and they're kind of young, so you can kind of see the overall average of everything when you click on the city, and then the individual statistics when you click on the house. Now usually you can kind of see what they're up to if you zoom in at a certain level, but I guess because they're all busy doing this sort of mating ritual that it doesn't want to tell me. So let's continue with the tutorial. Without guidance, your followers plan their lives according to their needs. Read about their needs by hovering over the happiness icon. We already did that. You and your followers communicate with the use of symbols. You use these symbols to write your commandments. So we have things like the forest, the desert, and food. The commandments you write consist of 3 parts. They all begin with a condition which specify which follower the commandment is applicable to. To proceed, choose a condition by clicking on either of the symbols above and see which follower is affected. So if we click on desert, it doesn't actually affect anyone because we have the forest and this is actually savanna, so it's not really a desert. If I click the unhappy icon, you can see it affects everyone. So let's go with unhappy. So the second part of the commandment is called an action. The action specifies what action the selected follower should perform. The last part is the target, which is combined with the action to modify what it does. Try to place an action and a target to your commandment and see what your followers will interpret as your commandment as. So we have if I am unhappy, then we have prioritize a certain subject, unprioritize a certain subject, metal, and young people. So let's say if I'm unhappy, let's prioritize young people. So what the game interprets this as is if I'm unhappy, I should prioritize the needs of young followers and share my resources with them. So depending on what order you put these things in, you're gonna get different stuff. If I say I should not prioritize, they're not gonna share anything with them. If I say metal, I should not prioritize metal, or I should prioritize metal. We'll share with the young though. We'll make sure they have all the resources. So yeah, that's kind of how the commandment system works. That is going to be enacted over here. To your left is a control panel, which is your tool for interaction. If you want to turn off or on the tutorial at any time, you can do this in the options. This concludes the tutorial. So I'm going to turn that off. If you don't turn it off, you'll get a little pop-up in the bottom right that will kind of just stay there until you do turn it off. So down here on the bottom left, we have a little options cog. We have time controls, spacebar for pausing, and then 1, 2, and 3 for the game time speed. The blue is the active commandments that you have going, and then this little orange icon next to the blue is, I guess it's not really orange, is it? It's kind of orange-ish. The other icon in the middle is where you actually write out the commandments. So here we have more of these actions. You can see you can mouse over each one and they'll just kind of tell you what they are. So we have forests in the world, which we have 3 people living in the forests. Now this is where the game gets a little vague. So in the tutorial you saw that it said if I am unhappy I should prioritize all that stuff. The game doesn't actually tell you any of that once you're playing the game. It only shows you that as an example. So we're going to say if I live in a forest, let's prioritize food. So now what I'm going to assume, and I know this just from experience, is if I tell them if they live in a forest, prioritize food, that means they're going to work the forests for food. So I'm going to enact that, and you can see over here in this bar or menu over on the left side, we have a little duration. It's probably kind of hard for you guys to read it. The text is a little bit small. I think you could do without the word duration and just put in a larger number there to show the duration. Because on a ×1 speed, it's not actual seconds. It seems like every 2 seconds is 1 tick, something along those lines, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, this is how we play the game. We don't actually directly control anyone. We just kind of tell them stuff to do. So they're going to start working that. We have a savanna over here, so I'm going to say if you live in the savanna, also prioritize getting some food. So now we're going to have people working on food. Let's close these. I'm not sure if there's a hotkey for these. It would be great if there was. We have a lot of lions in this area. Now, the land will change over time. The forests will kind of advance out and also get pushed back in by the deserts. The animals are actually a finite resource, so you need to make sure you kind of manage them. If you don't manage them, they will all die out, which seems okay. It doesn't seem like it affects the game too much later on, and you guys will see that once I load up the other colony. What I'm going to say is, if there are lions, now we have other actions than just prioritization. We can say move to or don't move to. We can say perform or don't perform. So I would like to kind of draw your attention to perform. It looks kind of like hands strangling an invisible throat. In my experience, perform means kill. So if I say, if there are lions, perform food on them, I'm assuming what this means is it's going to be hunt the lions for food. I'm assuming. So we're going to throw that in there and see how it goes. But you have different options here. One thing that I found quite helpful is if you have overfed followers, make sure you prioritize hungry followers. So what this is going to do is, you might even be able to catch them. They will go out and share resources. So you can see these people are sharing resources right now. You'll occasionally see people carrying what looks like bananas or something. Yeah, right there. Not bananas, maybe lemons. Some sort of food. They're bringing it to share with people. Make sure everyone gets fed. So we're pretty well sorted on food right now. If I double click on the village, kind of move over there, it looks like we're getting a good bit of food. If I double click on a hut and zoom in, you can see people are hungry, other people are well fed, so they're going to be sharing their food. We need a lot more food though. So these guys are going to go out, and they are in fact hunting lions from the looks of it. They have decided that no, they do not want to hunt lions anymore, which is unfortunate because that would have been lovely. These people are having a nice little mating ritual, so we can have some children, which is going to be good. We'll get some more workers coming in. I'm gonna say, if you're unhappy, get happy. One thing I've read is that the happy citizens require less rest, so make sure your people are happy all the time. That would be great. But you definitely need more food, guys. You should really work on the food situation. All of the lions are now migrating over here to kill all of the gazelle or antelope. Gazelle, maybe even impala. They're getting that stuff on. They're getting their noms on, which is kind of bad for us if we want to keep these alive to eat. I haven't actually seen lions attack humans, so I don't think they will. Let's speed up time a little bit. We need you guys to hunt the lions, not the gazelle. Maybe this doesn't work. Maybe we need to do food prioritize lions, so they'll go hunt the lions as food. I'm not sure. And this is where the kind of vagueness of the game comes in. Let's also say, if we have plenty of food, which it looks like our city does, why don't you prioritize getting some metal? Because we're running a little low on metal. Do we have any metal on this map at all? Do we not have metal on this map? I don't think we have metal on this map, guys. Well, this is a bit awkward. This is a bit awkward. Now, you can see that these are ticking off, so you need to kind of manage them as you go, which is, I think, both kind of neat and annoying. Not annoying. No, annoying's a bad word. I think it's neat and tedious at the same time. I like the idea of having to change these commandments on the fly to make sure your people live, but at the same time, certain things like make sure you gather food, that I think that should always be a thing. I don't think it should be dependent on whether or not I have clicked these 4 buttons. So I guess that's my first issue with the game. Another issue is the interface. I feel like this is unnecessarily large. Maybe make both of these more narrow and then make them elongated. So like this one over here on the left, you don't need this much space in here. Make it a little more narrow, a little more compact, and then make it taller. Same one down here same thing down here on the bottom. Maybe narrow it out and then widen it across the bottom of the screen. I think that would definitely help with the overall, I don't know, enjoyment of the game. We have larger monitors and resolution, so we can have more screen real estate rather than looking at menus all the time. And I think making those a little bit smaller and kind of compact and tucked away in the edges would make the experience a little more enjoyable, because this game is it's a watch and see sort of game. You don't want to have to sit there and micromanage through your menus all the time necessarily. Oh, I didn't do this. Okay, make sure we get some food going, because you guys will need food at all times. And we need to make sure we keep feeding the hungry people. I have read on the forums that someone clicked. So what I've done is, if you're overfed, prioritize the hungry. So this is going to make them deliver food to people that are hungry. I read on the forums that someone said they put in overfed, perform hungry. So that actually made the people that were overfed eat the hungry people. So you can get some interesting stuff going on. It looks like all of the lions have died out, so we now just have the antelope or gazelle or impala, whatever you would like to call them, hanging out on the map, which is nice, I suppose. They seem kind of friendly. Another thing I would like for the interface is maybe make these a little bit larger. I know the game's in early access. This is just kind of me giving you my first impressions and thoughts on the game. Maybe make an overlay to where I can, instead of having to zoom in or like double click and scroll over a city, I can click a little button and it'll show me this information. It'll just pop it up. I can click it on and off whenever I want. Instead of having to click on the hut, maybe do the same thing, give me a little overlay. You can see these guys died of old age. Old age, that's good. We want people to die of old age, not of starvation. That would be bad. We need to make sure they're happy. So let's say if you're unhappy, make sure you get happy. I'm not sure what perform happy would mean. Maybe it means if you're unhappy, kill the happy. That kind of scares me a little bit. I'm kind of scared of the perform action. But hopefully these guys will get a little bit happier. But yeah, maybe make some overlays to see this. That way you can know what's going on easier, quicker, just kind of at a glance. More information for the player. Same thing with this. The citizens will actually tell you what they're currently working on. Like, she is currently working on getting happy right now. So she's going to go do something. It looks like maybe delivering food is going to make her happy. These guys, I have no idea what these symbols mean, but either make them larger or where we can see them zoomed out a little bit more instead of having to zoom into this level specifically, or again some sort of overlay. I think that would be a nice little addition. So yeah, this is kind of the game in a nutshell. We don't have any metal, which worries me, honestly. Let's see, what do we need? We need food. These guys are gonna be fine on their own, but we're gonna make sure that they get food. Again, I feel that this is a little tedious having to constantly micromanage the food aspect. Now, some of the other stuff, you could definitely make it a little more interesting. Where maybe you can like terraform or do like the actual cannibalism. Maybe your civilization grew too much and you need to kind of cull the population. And that's a terrible thing to say, but maybe you need to make sure you kind of cull the population, survival of the fittest. That way your entire city doesn't collapse on itself. This guy over here is going to kind of wander around and start up a new city. We actually have, what is this? This looks like some kind of, is that just the site he's going to? I guess that's just the site he's going to. He's going to build up a new little area. So now we have a second city growing. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, a lot of managing these basic ones, and then kind of experimentation in this game. Now, again, I've stated this is early access, so hopefully they'll be adding more and more stuff. This brings me to one concern I have, and that is just going to be the longevity of the game. As far as, like, are you willing to sit here and, in this current state, sit here and just kind of do these same things over and over again? Because as I've stated before, with these four, you're kind of pretty much set. You don't really need to do much else. You can throw in the make sure you guys stay happy. With those 5, I would say you're pretty sorted. Let's see if we can maybe make, let's say if there's a savanna, make it a forest. Can we do that? Oh, need to queue up my food again. There we go. I'm not sure what this is going to do. Maybe it's going to make them go and plant trees to expand the forest. I'm not sure. maybe it's not going to do anything. I don't know. What if we did gazelles perform forest on them? Would that do anything? I'm not sure. It seems like everyone's busy farming, so they're not going to be doing much else for a while. Oh, this guy's going over here. What are you... Nope, he's going home. He's tired. Nope, he's going on the mountain. What are you guys doing out here? You're getting meat. Did I just say if a gazelle's in the forest, hunt it? I feel like that's kind of probably what I just said. Alright, well, the gazelle aren't going to be a thing pretty soon. So yeah, this is Crest. I think it's definitely an interesting game. I enjoy the graphics. They're going for that kind of African sort of creative life type feel from what I read in the description. I think everything works, the kind of low poly mesh. Everything's just kind of basic and nice and colorful. I enjoy it. Again, I just have a few issues with the interface, and then also with the potential longevity of the game, which will hopefully get remedied just due to the natural course of development. Because, again, this game's only been in early access since, I believe it was April 23rd. So, again, I'm assuming more and more stuff's going to get added, more features and more actions and tasks and things like that. The developers seem really active on the forums, so I would say maybe if you have any questions to stop by the forums and kind of ask them. I think at this point, let's back out. Let's save and quit. Go back to the menu. You can have multiple saves. Now, once a city dies, it deletes its save, so you can't like save scum or anything like that. But we're gonna go back to save 1. This is gonna be the city that I was doing my testing with, that I was playing around trying to learn the game. And you can see it's fairly large. There aren't any animals left because the lions ate all of the gazelle, and then they all died because they didn't have any food left. But you can see I've spread out quite a bit. Now, this is another issue that I have, is the performance when moving around. Once your area gets this large, kind of gets stuttery. You can see the people get all stuttery. These guys, I don't know what's going on with them kind of popping in and out of their houses. But you can see I'm kind of just I'm throwing stuff around to try to play around. You can actually overlap commandments, by the way. So I have if it's a forest, prioritize getting food from it. I have that there. I have that there. Did I do it again down here? I even did it again down here. So you can stack them. You don't have to wait for them to run out. But yeah, they're kind of playing around. I'm trying to see if maybe I can terraform the savanna into a forest and the desert into a savanna. I'm not sure if it's actually working or not, but it is something I'm trying to do. But you can see it's getting very jittery, so that's another issue I have with the game. But overall, I actually enjoy this game. It's a very relaxing game. The only slightly tedious part I feel is just having to keep micromanaging the food, telling them to prioritize the food rather. But other than that, again, I like the art aesthetic they're going for. It's nice. The music is nice and relaxing. It's not too overpowering or overbearing, or it doesn't get like annoying or anything like that. Hopefully work continues on this game, like they get a nice steady flow of content and patches out for you guys that are interested in the game. That way, you know, the game gets more interesting to play in the long run. Right now, personally, I feel like there's not necessarily kind of an end game, especially with the performance. Alright, so I would like to throw out that I have a pretty beefy computer right now, and this is kind of weird. By beefy computer, I mean I have a 4770K, a GTX 980 Ti, and 16 gigs of RAM. So me having performance issues with something like this seems a little bit weird. So I guess that's kind of a fair warning if you have a not super beefy computer, that you may run into performance issues once you get a larger population. But again, overall, I'm enjoying this game. I'm not going to say whether or not I recommend it. I'm going to leave that up to you guys, just based on what you've seen in this video, and also maybe what you can find on the forums. As I've said before, the words, they're coming too fast. The developers seem quite active on the forums, so I'm sure they would be able to answer any questions. The community seems relatively friendly. I say relatively, there are quite toxic communities out there, which I'm sure most of you know, but these guys seem like they're a very helpful bunch. So yeah, definitely check out this game if you're looking for a new God game to try out. Again, it is $5 US on Steam, or you can purchase a Steam key through the Humble Store. Links will be in the description below. And if this isn't something you're interested in purchasing right now, but you'd kind of like to follow the development, remember Steam did add that follow function, which will actually notify you anytime there's any news related to the game. So as long as the developer posts news about current patches and stuff, you'll get notified of that. And there's always the wish list option, guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I've enjoyed my time with Crest so far. And I'm honestly looking forward to seeing what they do with the game in the future. I think it's an interesting little system, having to write the commandments. I think it's neat. All of these are they just stuck? I don't know what's happening. I think I broke the game. Guys, I think I broke the game. Yeah. Again, $5 US. I'm assuming, or your regional equivalent, I'm honestly not sure, on either Steam or Humble for a Steam key. Again, links in the description below. This game is Crest by the Eat, Create, Sleep studio. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. That's going to be all for me now that I've broken Crest. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.